What's up guys, XM360 here, and in today's video I'm going to be reviewing what I believe to be one of the cheapest and cost-friendly blue laser pointers on the market. So many of you laser enthusiasts know that you won't usually find a blue 445 or 450 nanometer laser pointer for less than $40 or $50. This one, which I found on eBay, which I always do my transactions on eBay because they have a really good return policy, this one was only $20. It comes from a seller named Laserlands, and unfortunately they are located in China, so the shipping time will take a bit longer, but for $20, that's the cheapest price I found for a blue laser pointer, a true blue, not a 405 nanometer purple UV color. So I'll put a link down below on where you can buy this exact laser. And I do have to admit, this is my second one. The first one they sent me was a dud. The diode was all screwed up and it barely worked. I contacted them and they sent me a new one free of charge, and they actually sent the second one even quicker than the first one, so I did like dealing with this seller and I was happy with the response I got from them. Now this laser is not focusable and it is not a burning laser pointer. This is simply just a blue 445 to 450 nanometer laser. It would be great for anybody who has a collection and they're just looking to add a blue laser to their collection for a cheap price. So to start, it does come with this little box right here. And this box isn't really the best quality. It is like kind of a cardboard light material. And even as I'm pulling off the tape that they ship with it, I'm actually pulling off some of that black material as well. So this box definitely isn't high quality, but I mean, as long as it serves its purpose, I wasn't really looking for anything crazy for $20. Now, you have this little instruction manual in here too. And this looks pretty basic. It basically just has some general information about the wavelength, the power, which I forgot to mention in the beginning of the video. This is a 5 milliwatt laser. And here is the laser itself. As you guys will notice, it's in the same host as those 3 laser pointers I did a review on, the green, red, and purple one. This is a pretty common host for the cheapest lasers on the market, so I'm not really surprised that the cheapest blue laser out there is in this host. It's definitely not the most durable host at all. It's definitely not going to withstand a lot of falls or a lot of drops. So I would be very careful with this one because I've dealt with this host before and I know it can be kind of temperamental. You don't want to drop it. The inside of the box, I've had this box before too. They ship out this box with a lot of these cheap 5 milliwatt lasers. It's nice and all. I mean, it's low quality and that foam in there is kind of like fake too. It's not really good quality, but it does house the laser and house the batteries and keep them all safe from like dust and stuff like that, I guess. So the laser itself is metal, most likely aluminum or something cheap, and it is pretty lightweight. I do wish it had a little more weight to it, and it is pretty thin too. The metal on it's pretty thin. As most of you probably guessed, this one does run on AAA's just like a lot of the cheap 5 milliwatt lasers. And I mean, you probably could use some rechargeable AAA batteries, but for the best results, I would probably just stick with basic AAA batteries. You're going to load in 2 AAA's with the positive end on the bottom. So with both of the batteries, the flat negative side should be the part that you're able to see when you load in the batteries. And then you're just going to screw that back together and your laser should now function. And with this laser, it is one of the lasers where you have to hold down the button while you're using the laser. You can't just press it once for on and once for off. And I don't really like that. I know I say that in a lot of my videos, but I really do mean it. I prefer the lasers where you can just press once on and once off, but since this is a really cheap laser, I really can't complain too much. Now, as for the laser dot itself, as you guys can see, it does have a little bit of light spread. It's not just one perfectly focused dot. You do see, if I zoom in very closely, it does have a rectangular shape, the dot itself, because with a lot of these blue laser diodes, that's the shape they produce. So this one definitely is a true blue. It's not one of those ones where they say it's a blue one and they ship you a 405 nanometer purple one. I am happy with the brightness of this laser dot. It does meet my expectations, and I am going to show you guys it in different lighting levels, and I'm also going to use my LPM to give you guys the exact power of this laser. Now it's really tough to see, but in darker settings like this one, if you're looking down the sight of the laser and you align your eyes with it perfectly, you can faintly see the beam. The camera doesn't really pick it up, but you can kind of see the beam very faintly if you're in a very dark setting like this one. Now moving outdoors to a complete daytime setting, you're definitely not able to see the beam whatsoever, and you can just barely see the dot if you kind of look very closely and you know where the dot's going to be. And then I'm kind of following it with the camera here so I can keep my eye on where that dot is. That's about a couple, maybe 200 feet away, and I can still see that dot. It's very faint and it doesn't really show up very well in daylight settings like this one. But if you know exactly where to look and you kind of keep your eye on it, you will be able to see it from some distance. So moving on, this is what it's going to look like at nighttime, and you pretty much get the same effect as that first one I showed you in the dark room. If you're looking down the sight of the laser, you can just faintly see the beam, and if it's a foggy night, you will be able to see the beam much better. And I just wanted to throw this extra clip in for you guys. If you shine it through water like a fish tank, you can actually see the beam very well. Just make sure that you don't shine it at any animals. Now you will also get this effect even better if you use a fog machine or maybe like a hookah pen. Any type of smoke will make the beam show up very well. So I'm now going to move on to actually figuring out the true power of this laser pointer. Like I said, they advertise it as a 5 milliwatt laser, and a lot of times they do lie with these Chinese lasers and they're a bit stronger than they say, but for this one, because it's the cheapest blue out there, it probably will sit at somewhere around 5 milliwatts. So I gave it about 30 seconds, and we are getting an average reading of exactly 5 milliwatts. So with this one, they are exactly as advertised, a 5 milliwatt laser. So I am actually pretty happy with that. I mean, I do always like when one's over spec and it's a lot higher than they say it is, because I don't mind a stronger laser, but I do like how this one was exactly what they advertised. So I'm now going to quickly move on to the reviewing aspect of this laser, and I was fairly pleased with the results I got. I did like the seller a lot, Laserlands, and even though they're based in China and it did take a little time for the product to come in, and that first one was a dud, they dealt with it very quickly and very professionally and sent me a brand new one free of charge, and this one did end up working flawlessly. As far as negative things go, I've never really been a big fan of this host, but if it is the cheapest laser on the market, I guess I'm okay with it. I didn't really like how this one doesn't have a label on it. Most of the lasers I purchase, if not all of them, will have a label that says the power, what color it is, and what class laser it is, and this one didn't have any label on it at all, which I found kind of strange, but it's not a major issue, I guess. And that dot does have a little light spread, which you saw earlier in the video. It's not a perfect dot, but it's not awful either. And that's pretty much all the negative I have to say about it. I was happy with the performance I got from this laser. It was bright for being the cheapest one on the market, and the price of $20, you really can't beat that. You're going to be pretty hard pressed to find a true blue 445 or 450 nanometer laser on the market for cheaper than that, so the price was pretty good, and the seller was very good and professional as well. Overall, I do like this laser, and I would suggest it for anybody who's just trying to add a blue laser to their collection and doesn't really care if it's very visible, if it has a really visible beam, and if it can burn things. So I'll put a link down below in the description to where you guys can purchase this laser from the seller I bought it from, and if you guys found this video helpful in any way at all, hit that like button down below, and if you're new to my channel, hit that subscribe button for more amazing laser videos just like this. So as always guys, thank you for watching from XM360.